Episode 1. The Child of the Devil and the Poison in the Ground. Deep in a fog-shrouded mountain range, past midnight. Creak, creak, creak. The old bamboo door groaned as someone pushed it open, gently, deliberately, the sound crawling through the dark like a living thing. The still house sat hidden in the forest, swallowed by unbroken night. Its wooden walls had rotted through, and cobwebs draped from every beam, and their white silk threads stirring each time a breath of cold wind slipped through the gaps. Creak, creak. A man moved across the warped floorboards, holding a torch. "I'm here," a woman's voice answered from the shadows. He's here. He's here. Wake up, child. Wake up." She shook her daughter gently, a young woman lying in the corner of the house, wrapped in a single blanket woven from coarse hemp. The man set his torch in the stone holder and drew something from inside his shirt, a cloth bundle, carefully and tightly wrapped. He placed it on the floor. "Eat. It's still warm." He carried several sticks of firewood into the kitchen, lit the stove, and extinguished the torch. The woman's voice came soft again. "If the fire burns so bright, are you not afraid? Don't worry. It's past midnight. This house has been abandoned for years. No one will come this deep into the forest at this hour. Let me boil some water for Swang. She needs something warm to drink." Their daughter had already pushed herself upright. Long black hair, skin pale and white as paper, but tinged with a sickly pallor. She spoke weakly. "I've caused you both so much suffering." This man and woman were Swang's parents. For reasons that had driven them to desperation, they had hidden their daughters in this long abandoned stilt house and crept here every night with food and water. The reason became clear as Swang struggled to sit up and the blanket slid away. Her belly, swollen and heavy, was nearly a term. Her mother looked at her with eyes full of sorrow. "Your father and I only love you. Come, eat something. You need your strength, my poor child." She opened the cloth bundle her husband had brought, drew out a spoon and chopsticks, and pressed them into Swang's hands. While Swang ate, the two of them sat together in the firelight. Her father fed dry wood to the stove. Her mother asked, barely above a whisper, "Are you certain no one saw you on the way here?" "I told you, no one. On a night like this, only wild animals and ghosts would notice me. If you're so frightened, don't make a fire and let both of you shiver to death. The two of you stay here a few more days. Swan's time is close. Once the child is born, I'll get all of you out of here." "Then why not take her away now? The longer we stay," her father sighed. "I want to, but Swang is weak and she's about to give birth. The road is long. You have to cross forests and wade streams for several days before you reach the valley. How can she travel like this? That's why I brought her this deep into the forest to hide. Stay with her. I'll handle things in the village. And pray. Tomorrow is the ceremony for the chosen one." Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The forest wind rose without warning, howling through the broken walls, rattling the rotten doors with a sound like grinding teeth. After Swang finished eating, her father rewrapped the bundle, relit his torch, and slipped quietly out into the dark. The abandoned stilt house slowly lost its warmth. "Hoo, hoo, hoo." An owl called somewhere deep in the trees. The darkness swallowed everything. The following evening, in Swang's village, her father, Pa, he was frantically cramming belongings into a sack when a voice rang out from beyond the gate. "Is Pa home?" Torches blazed in the yard, flooding the bamboo fence with orange light. Pa did not answer. Something cold moved through his chest. He slipped out through the back of the house and vaulted the rear fence, disappearing into the dark before the men outside had lost their patience. They broke through the gate, stormed inside, and one thrust his torch through the open doorway. "Damn, Pa's family has run. Search the area. Move now, they can't be far. You bastards, how dare you defy Teacher Mo's words? Pa, you've gone mad. Shush, shush, shush." Pa ran through the forest, gasping, his feet torn by thorns, his arms and chest scratched raw by branches. The pain meant nothing. These wounds would heal. But if he did not move fast enough, he would never see his daughter or his grandchild again. In this year's sacrificial ceremony, Luong had been chosen. That meant the child in her womb was meant to die. His wife's dream had foretold this days ago, and now it had come true. Clack! He threw the door open and stumbled inside. Blood from the soles of his feet smeared across the floor. In the firelight, his wife and daughter stared at him, eyes wide. "Go. We have to leave now. There's no time left." He met his wife's eyes, and she understood immediately. She stammered. Then, Luong covered her face and sobbed, "Mother, Father, save me. The whole family goes together. The whole village must be searching for us by now. This place won't stay hidden much longer." Luong and their mother wiped their tears and reached for each other, struggling to stand. The moment they rose, Luong's fingers clamped around her mother's shoulders, and she nearly crumpled. A strangled groan escaped her. "It hurts. It hurts so much. Mother, I think it wants to come out." Before she finished speaking, amniotic fluid ran down her legs. She lowered herself back to the floor. Her mother looked at her husband in panic. "She's in labor. We can't go anywhere." Luong lay on the floor, clutching her stomach, writhing and crying out. Pa had known this might happen. They had prepared themselves for it over the past several days, which was why his wife had been staying by Luong's side each night. They had no choice but to remain. For more than 4 hours, the labor tormented her. Then at last, a cry split the silence of the wild mountain forest. "Wah, wah, wah," a baby girl. Luong's face was white as ash and soaked with sweat. But when her mother placed the newborn gently beside her, she smiled. Pa and his wife wept. They had kept the pregnancy secret for so long. Only Luong knew who the father was, and no matter how many times her parents asked, she refused to say. Since the moment she had known she was with child, she had not left the house. When she could no longer conceal it, Pa had moved her deep into the forest to wait. He and his wife had feared two things: the child in their daughter's womb and the sacrificial ceremony drawing near. Loving Luong as they did, they had chosen to defy the village, to defy the generation-old customs of the Shang people, to defy the gods that watched over them all. Those fears seemed to dissolve when the newborn girl raised her tiny red fist and touched Luong's nose. Pa and his wife cried again, helpless with relief and joy. But the happiness did not last. From outside the stilled house came the crunch of footsteps and the low murmur of many voices. Torchlight began to press through the cracks in the walls. Luong burst into fresh tears. She struggled to rise, pulled her daughter to her chest, drew the blanket over them both, and pressed herself deep into the corner. Pa's wife was too frightened to speak. Pa himself could not move. The house was surrounded. There was nowhere left to run. Keek, keek, keek. The bamboo door swung slowly open. Torchlight flooded in. One torch, two, then more. An endless procession of orange flames. The leader stepped forward, looked at Pa's family and spoke. Found you. Were you planning to run, Pa? Do you want everyone to die along with you? Pa fell to his knees instantly, hands clasped together. I know I was wrong. Punish me. Curse me. I will accept everything the gods see fit. But forgive my family. No one moved. Every face in that room wore the same expression: rage, contempt, the burning certainty of those who believe they are acting on divine command. Without another word, the men rushed in. They seized Pa and his wife, and they went for Swang, still huddled in the corner beneath her single blanket. The man who reached her tore it away. In the torchlight, he froze. Swang was holding a newborn child, still red from birth. He could not speak. Everyone in the village had believed Swang to be a virgin. He stared at Swang and then at the floor around her and stammered, You gave birth, a child. Shock moved through the room like a cold wind. Someone's voice cracked with fear. She gave birth. Then she is no longer. She is no longer pure. The gods will punish us. The men holding Pa and his wife released them involuntarily, their hands going slack with dread. Whatever god they served clearly held terrible power. To displease it was unthinkable. While the room still reeled, footsteps sounded on the stairs leading up to the stilt house. Cop, cop, cop. And then a laugh, low, delighted, deeply wrong. Hey, 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 hey. Do not be afraid, everyone. I have known about this for a long time. The God will still accept us. The God will still forgive. The man who entered was Mo Chok, the one the village called the messenger of the gods. Every person in the room bowed their heads the moment they saw him. Mo Chok approached Swang. He looked down at her and the infant in her arms, and he grinned. Ha ha ha. So you gave birth to a girl. Swang stared up at him, her whole body trembling with cold and terror. She whispered, If I am the scapegoat, take me. I accept it. Mo Chok burst into laughter. Ha 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 ha. He 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 he. I don't need you anymore. What I need is this child. He he he. He turned to address the room. Take the child and punish the family of Pa. This child is the son of the devil, offered as a sacrifice. The gods will drive out demons and protect us all. Do it. The moment Mo Chok finished speaking, the men surged forward. They tore the infant from Swang's arms even as she screamed, even as the baby wailed. Swang threw herself after them, rolling, clawing, seizing at their legs, begging them with everything she had left. It made no difference. In desperation, she sank her teeth into the leg of the man carrying her child. In fury, he swung his foot and drove it into his skull. The sound it made was not a sound Swang could hear it anymore. Blood welled from the wound on her head and ran down over her face. She lay still. Her eyes remained open, fixed on the men who were walking away with her daughter. The eyes of a mother who had lost everything. The eyes of someone already gone. She could no longer hear her baby crying. She could no longer hear her parents screaming as the villagers dragged them away. The man who had killed her paused at the door and glanced back. He immediately shivered, every hair rising on his body, when his eyes met Swang's open gaze. She lay motionless, utterly still, and yet could not look away. He swallowed hard. She's dead. She's really... Wah, 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 wah. Past midnight, the desolate forest was shattered once more by an infant's crying, and then, one by one, the sounds of the night went silent. The owls, the insects, everything fell away until only the cries remained, echoing through the cold wind. The fire in the stilled house slowly went out. Crying faded. The darkness swallowed what was left. 2 years later, U Van Uli on Nam province. As the medicine finished decocting, the man rested a hand briefly on the boy's forehead, then turned to face the couple who owned the house. Yes, teacher, it's done. Let me bring it to you now. The husband edged closer to the bed where his son lay unconscious, eyes tight with fear. Teacher, will a boy be all right? Please, I beg you, save my child. He's had a fever for 2 days now. My wife and I didn't know where to take him. We didn't know what to do. Please, teacher. The man they were addressing was Master Luong, silver-bearded, wearing a faded brown turban and an old cloth robe, lean-faced, but with eyes of peculiar brightness. He answered calmly, "Don't worry, the boy is past the worst of it. I found him in time. I've already given him an herbal preparation to bring the fever down. The important thing now is to clear the toxin from his blood. The medicine I had you prepare will draw out the poison and help his body recover. The fever came from a rat bite. Combined with an already weakened constitution, it sent him into a high fever that refused to break. No ordinary treatment would touch it." As he spoke, Master Luong turned the boy's wrist over to show the couple. On the pale skin, a red wool stood out, still swollen, still seeping. A rat bite. Most people never imagined such a thing could be life-threatening. But a rat carrying pathogens and toxins is no less dangerous than a venomous snake or centipede. Because it seems harmless, people do nothing. And unlike other venoms, the rat's poison does not kill immediately. It brings prolonged fever, pain that wears the body down over days. The bite and the fact that the rat attacked a child unprovoked, these things trouble me. Just then, the wife returned, carefully carrying a bowl of medicine. Master Luong said, "Feed the boy the entire bowl. And you, come outside with me. I have something to ask." The couple was young and clearly struggling. Their house stood alone in the middle of an empty, cracked field, surrounded by dry earth and withered grass. Master Luong had come upon them by chance, passing through on his way elsewhere. He had heard weeping from inside the house. It was the wife kneeling over her son while he burned and convulsed. They had no money, no one nearby to ask for help, and their child had been feverish for 2 full days. When Master Luong had stopped only to ask for water, he had seen the boy's condition and stayed. Inside, the wife carefully spooned medicine between her son's lips. Color was already returning to his cheeks. He had not woken, but the trend was clear. Master Luong stood in the small, tilting fenced yard and looked out at the surrounding emptiness, dry fields in every direction. The land was barren. Nothing grew here. Nothing thrived. He asked, "When did the boy's fever begin?" The husband, his name was Mio, answered, "Yesterday morning, teacher. Normally, when my wife and I get up, he gets up too. But yesterday, he just lay there. At first, I thought nothing of it. Children stay up late. They sleep in sometimes. The night before, while my wife and I were weaving baskets to sell at the market, he was still running around the house. By the next morning, we came to wake him and found him shivering on the bed, soaked in sweat. Master Luong frowned. And you didn't take him to a doctor at once. The fever seemed to come and go, teacher. By noon, after he ate some rice, he started vomiting. I went to a healer in the village and described the symptoms. He gave me 3 doses and told me to give each dose 3 times. I'm not hiding anything. I scraped together every coin in the house and could only buy 2 doses. From yesterday to today, those 2 doses are gone. But his condition kept getting worse. Yesterday, he drifted in and out. Today, he can't open his eyes. His body swings between burning hot and ice cold. We covered him with our warm blanket and every shirt we had, but he still shook as if it wasn't enough. We have nothing left worth selling. Master Luong was quiet for a moment, and then said, "All right, you and your wife don't need to worry about the boy anymore. He'll recover. But there is something that needs to be addressed. A moment ago, inside, I didn't want to say it in front of your wife. Women have enough to carry. But this is a serious matter. When I examined the rat bite on your son's wrist, the bite is indeed poisonous. But there is something else, something that concerns me more." Mio asked quickly, "What is it, teacher?" Master Luong's brow furrowed. The smell of death still lingers in the wound. Mio stared. "Death? As in a corpse?" Master Luong nodded. "That's right. Your son's illness can be treated. I've already begun doing so. But if we don't find and remove the root cause, I'm afraid not only your son, but many others in this village will be in danger. The rat that bit the boy was not an ordinary rat. From inside the house, his wife called out, 'Husband, he's waking up.' Meo ran inside. Master Luong followed at a measured pace. On the bed, the boy had opened his eyes. His breathing had steadied. He couldn't yet move on his own, but he was awake, and his eyes were clear. Meo turned to Master Luong with tears running down his face. "Thank you, teacher. Thank you. My child is back." Master Luong smiled. "No need for all that. The boy is out of danger. He'll need at least 3 more days to recover properly, and he'll need enough food and water during that time. One of you should go to the market and buy some lean meat to cook into porridge. I'll prescribe 1 more dose of medicine. Tomorrow, at the same time, I'll prepare it for him to take." Meo and his wife looked at each other and lowered their heads in silence. No one said a word. Master Luong studied both of them. Then he reached into his bag, took out a small amount of money, and held it out to the wife. "Here, take this to the market. Buy rice and meat." They reacted as if he had handed them a hot coal. The wife stepped back. The husband said quickly, "How can we accept this? You saved his life. How could we take your money on top of that?" Master Luong clucked his tongue and shook his head. "I didn't say I was giving you money. I said buy rice and meat and cook it for me. I've been traveling all day. I still haven't finished my business here, and I need somewhere to sleep tonight. Think of this as a lodging fee, even if you too have no appetite. Think of the boy. Now go, before the market closes." The wife began to cry. Both she and Mio understood exactly what Master Luong meant. She took the money and left. The son's fever had broken. After finishing the full bowl of medicine, he had drifted into a peaceful sleep. While Mio cleared a corner of the house and prepared a space for Master Luong to sleep, Master Luong went outside and walked a slow circuit around the property before the light faded entirely. That evening, the boy, who had been unconscious all day with fever and chills, sat up and ate a bowl of porridge by himself. Master Luong watched him eat and felt something ease in his chest. Mio and his wife watched their child eat and wept quietly. They could not stop thanking him. After the meal, Mio poured water for Master Luong. Understand, there's no tea in the house. It's fine. Just leave it there. I have something to ask. Mio sat up straight. Anything, teacher. Has anyone in this village died recently? Mio thought for a moment, then said, Recently? I don't think so. Let me put it differently. In the last month to a month and a half, has anyone in the village died? Mio turned the question over in his mind. Then he snapped his fingers. Yes, teacher. More than a month ago? Yes. I almost forgot. The funeral of Elder Kin, Mr. Puong's father. Mr. Puong is a commune official, and his family is the wealthiest around here. The funeral was enormous, drums and trumpets for several days and nights. The strangest funeral I've ever seen, too. Master Luong leaned forward slightly. Strange how? Can you describe it? Mio pulled a chair out and sat down. Strange because at every funeral I've been to, people weep, they howl and sob. But at Mr. Puong's house, they did it differently. I heard they hired singers and dancers on top of the trumpets and drums. The whole thing was lively, almost joyful. Apparently, they believe that crying traps the soul of the dead in earth, makes it hard for the spirit to let go. So instead, they sing, dance, laugh, create a happy mood so the deceased can feel at peace and move on to the afterlife. That's what I heard. Strange as a waiting, I couldn't understand it at the time, which is why I didn't think of Elder Kin's funeral straight away. Mr. Puong's family has held power in this village for several generations. All the good land flows through his hands. Mio caught himself rambling and stopped. But why are you asking about the dead, teacher? Master Luong continued. So more than a month ago, Elder Kin's was the only funeral? Mio nodded. That's right. If you walked around here this afternoon, you saw what surrounds my house. Empty, desolate fields. Some farmland, but drought has ruined it, so it's mostly wasteland. This area also serves as a temporary burial ground for the recently dead. When someone in the village dies, they're brought out to this field for temporary burial, and they have to pass by my house to get there. So I know whenever anyone is brought out. Master Luong had seen this himself during his walk that afternoon. A few scattered mounds rising from the cracked earth, all of them clearly old, their soil long settled. And do you know where Elder Kin's grave is located? When I walked around earlier, the graves near your house all looked at least 2 or 3 years old. None of them freshly built. Mio scratched his head and laughed. Elder Kin's grave is all the way at the end of this dirt road. His family has money. The temporary burial would have been done properly. I heard it from people in the village. Before Elder Kin passed, Mr. Luong hired a feng shui master to consult on where to bury him out here in the field. The feng shui master inspected the land, chose a good plot, said it was auspicious, good for temporary burial, convenient for later disinterment, and that the bones would yellow nicely after 3 years before being moved to the family mausoleum. The grave is at the far end of this road. The mound is quite high, and there are no other graves around it. Elder Kin's He's alone out there. If you want to see it, I'll take you tomorrow morning. It's already dark now. Going there at night would be... Don't worry, I'll go alone in the morning. It's late. You and your wife should get the child to sleep. Mio agreed, cleared away the chairs and went inside. His wife was still in the lamplight, checking the bamboo baskets by hand. They were exhausted, all of them. When Master Luong came in, Mio and his wife shut the door and went to bed. Master Luong fell asleep without meaning to, and then he was jolted awake by sounds he could not immediately place. Rich, 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 hiss, 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 rats, and not just one. From the darkness above the other bed, Mio and his wife and their son slept on, unaware. Chit, chit, rich, rich. The scraping grew sharper, more distinct. The house was dark, but Master Luong could feel the movement at the foot of Mio's bed, small bodies converging. The moment he sat up, they scattered, vanishing into hollows and gaps in the walls, beneath the beds and cabinets. But 2 or 3 managed to climb onto the mattress before being stopped by the thin curtain fabric draped over the frame. Chit, chit, chit. The rats at the edge of the curtain began to screech. Mio and his wife startled awake at the same moment Master Luong's voice reached them. Wake up now. Master Luong lit the oil lamp and added candles from his bag. The room brightened. He grabbed the bamboo stick from the wall and swung it at the creatures clinging to the outside of the curtain. Chit, chit. A rat shrieked and flew off the bed. One by one, he drove them back. Oil lamps and candles cast a ring of light around the bed. And Mio, now on his feet with a stick of his own, helped keep them at bay. The rats no longer dared approach. On the bed, Mio's wife held her son against her chest, trembling. He had never seen rats behave this way in his life, climbing onto beds, attacking sleeping people, clawing at the fabric of a sleeping curtain to get inside. Rich, rich, rich. From beneath the cabinets, the hissing continued, and then, without any further warning, all of the rats fled at once. From the roof above, a sound rang out. Meow, 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 meow. A cat. Its meowing rolled down through the ceiling like a bell. The rats poured out of the house and were gone. In the sudden silence, Master Luong turned toward the front door. In the darkness of the room, he saw clearly a pair of blood-red eyes fixed directly on him. Then the cat's meowing stopped. The red eyes vanished. The space went still. No more rats, no more cat. Only the quick, shallow breathing of Mio's wife as she held her child in the bed. Mio let out a long, shaking breath. What were those rats? Master Luong set the bamboo stick down. He left the candles burning around the bed and carried the oil lamp to the front door. Nothing. Past midnight, the field outside was empty and quiet. He looked up at the roof. The cat was gone. He went back inside. It's calm for now, but as I suspected, the bite on your son's wrist is more than a bite. This is beginning to be serious. Mio asked nervously. Those are poisonous rats, aren't they? Master Luong shook his head slowly. No, but that rat, the one that led them here, it has begun to develop something like intent, something like awareness. It seems it has started to change. Sleep now. We'll address this in the morning. Neither Master Luong nor Mio slept again that night. They sat in the half-dark, watching the candles burn down until the gray light of early morning crept through the walls. Mio's wife and Sun managed a few more hours of sleep. Outside, the first birds arrived, small and light, landing on the porch railing, filling the silence with noise. Master Luong stepped out to let the morning air in. At the water jar, he bent to scoop water for his face and stopped. Around the clay pot next to the jar, pressed into the dirt, were animal footprints. He crouched and examined them closely. Cat prints. So the cat last night had been real, had moved around the exterior of the house. He washed his face and returned to the yard just as Mio came out of the house. Mio lowered his voice. Teacher didn't sleep at all. My family has put you through so much trouble. Don't say that. You didn't sleep either. At least the rats didn't come back. Mio asked hesitantly, will they come back, teacher? Master Luong looked at him directly. I'm afraid they will, and next time, in greater numbers, and more aggressive. Mio went pale. But there is nothing in our house worth coming for. Why are they coming here in such numbers? Because of your son. Listen carefully. A few days ago, your son was bitten by a rat. Whether he stumbled on it by accident or the rat sought him out. I told you yesterday that the bite was poisonous and that it carried the smell of death. Let me walk you through my thinking. In drought years, when crops fail and the earth turns barren, rats eat everything. They're scavengers by nature, and their bodies accumulate toxins from the filth they consume. The bite of such a rat, combined with your son's weakened state, caused a fever that could have killed him. That part I've already addressed, but the smell of death in the wound pointed to something further. What I suspect now, and what last night confirmed, is that the rat responsible for the bite had been feeding on human remains. Mio went rigid. The skin on his arms rose. Is it the body of Elder Ken? Most likely. Yesterday, when I walked around here, none of the graves nearby were recently dug. The soil had all settled, which means the bodies within are long decomposed. Rats feeding on those graves would have nothing left. It was only when you told me that someone had died more than a month ago and that the grave was at the end of this road, still within the surrounding area, that the picture came together. But to confirm it, we'll need to go to that grave ourselves. Mio rubbed the back of his neck. But why would a rat come all this way to our house? Just now you said my family is in danger. Teacher, please, tell me what I need to know. Master Luong answered plainly. If my suspicion is correct, then last night the rat came back to check whether your son was dead. Not only that, it brought other rats with it. Think about what we saw. It stood apart, hanging back, while the others swarmed towards the bed where the boy was sleeping. It waited and watched. That is not the behavior of a normal rat. It has purpose. It attacked the boy because it believes he is food, the same way it thinks of the corpse it has been eating. It bit him, poisoned him, and then returned to find the body. This thing has already ceased to be ordinary, and it will not stay small. Last night, it brought a handful. What happens when it brings 10 times that number, and when every rat it brings is also carrying its poison? Your family lives alone out here. You will be the first ones it comes for. And when your family is gone, it will move on to the village. By the time Master Luong finished, Mio was sweating in the cool morning air. He had spent years in this house, in this empty field, and never once experienced anything like the past 2 days. He had seen the rats last night, fearless, driven, pressing against the curtain as if they knew what was on the other side. If Master Luong hadn't been there with a stick, they wouldn't have stopped. From inside the house, Mio's son appeared in the doorway, walking on his own, face bright with color. Relief surged through Mio's chest. But it was followed immediately by the knowledge of what Master Luong had just said, that his son was the bait, the reason those creatures kept returning. Mio dropped to his knees. Master Luong stopped him. "Get up. I'm not saying I won't help. This has grown beyond your family's safety. The whole village is at risk, but acting hastily will only make things worse. I saved your son. I'm not going to let anything happen to him again." Mio's son trotted over and wrapped his arms around Master Luong's leg. "My mom says you should come inside. Breakfast is ready." Master Luong ruffled the boy's hair and smiled. "I'll be glad to. Lead the way. I'm hungry." Watching Master Luong and the boy walking toward the door together, Mio stood in the yard with tears blurring his eyes. He had never met this man before 2 days ago. Master Luong had stopped only to ask for water, and he had stayed, healed the boy, given them food, and now stood prepared to face whatever was coming. Since Mio's parents had died, no one in the village or commune had looked after his family this way. Mio bowed his head and whispered, "Thank you, teacher." Breakfast was cold rice reheated with last night's broth. The rice went to the boy. The adults made do with burnt rice and vegetable soup. After eating, Mio told his wife he was going to the market with the remaining unsold baskets and asked her to stay home with the child and mind the medicine schedule. Master Luong picked up his bag and announced he would return by noon. When Mio asked if he could come along, Master Luong shook his head. Before leaving, he drew a small white bottle from his bag, thumb-sized, sealed with red cloth, and handed it to Mio's wife. "Apply this to your son's arms, legs, and neck. Do the same for you and your husband." Mio's wife unstoppered it and sniffed. Mio leaned over. "It smells like basil." It isn't basil. It's an essential oil distilled from mint. The scent repels rats. The rats won't act aggressively during daylight hours, but apply it anyway, for your peace of mind. Now go." Following Mio's directions, Master Luong reached the end of the dirt road where Elder Kin, father of Mr. Puong, commune official and the wealthiest man in the village, lay buried in temporary ground. The land out here was wilder than it had been around Mio's house, perhaps because so few people came this far. Where the road ended, the farmland ended too. There had been no rain for a long time, and even weeds couldn't find a foothold. On both sides of the track, the fields were cracked and dry, the grass yellow and brittle. Sweat rolled down Master Luong's cheeks. He wiped it with his sleeve and pushed aside a draping mulberry branch. Beyond the mulberry tree, the mound came into view. Mio had been right. This was nothing like the other graves in the area. Even as a temporary burial site, Elder Ken's grave had been built with a wall, the edges plastered with cement and faced with marble. About 2 meters off to the side stood an old guava tree, thick-rooted, gnarled, clearly planted long before the grave was dug. Master Luong walked a slow circuit of the mound and stopped. Something was off. He thought, the fields beyond here are bone dry, cracked open, weeds withered to nothing. Yet this guava tree is still green. The bark is still moist. The soil around the mound is soft, and the surrounding wall is already thick with green moss, and the grave is barely a month old. He peeled a strip of bark from the base of the guava tree and examined it. Then he crouched and reached into his bag. He counted out 10 yin and yang coins, old, square-holed coins, and a small coil of red thread. He threaded the coins onto the thread and tied one's end around his wrist, leaving the other end free, the coins dangling. He removed his canvas shoes. Barefoot, he walked the perimeter of the mound, dragging the coins slowly across the ground. When he stopped, every coin had turned. The chain hung stiff and straight, all 10 coins oriented directly toward Elderkin's grave. Master Luong murmured, "Though it is here, the disaster begins here. But fortunately, it hasn't gone too far yet." He stepped before the grave, lit 3 sticks of incense, and bowed his head with sincerity. "I ask permission to approach the resting place of the deceased. What I do here is for the sake of both the dead and the living." When the prayer was done, Master Luong scooped a small amount of earth from the grave and gathered a few flecks of ash from the incense bowl. He placed both into a small cloth bag, closed it, and slung it over his shoulder. In his head, a plan was already taking shape. The walk back was harder with each passing minute. After passing Mio's house, Master Luong continued into the more populated part of the village. He stopped at a herbal medicine shop, close to 10 in the morning. The shop owner listened to what Master Luong needed, and his expression shifted to alarm. "I don't stock those things here. This is a medicine shop. It saves lives. What you're asking for is poison, several kinds at once." Master Luong had expected this. He didn't keep such substances himself either. "Is there a larger pharmacy nearby? I'm willing to pay whatever it costs. My shop is the largest here. No other pharmacy carries things like sweet tree, sumac root, or buffalo horn plant. The names alone make my skin crawl." Master Luong thanked him and turned to leave. He had taken 2 steps when the shop owner called him back, voice careful. "Wait, you said you would pay a high price. You meant that?" "I did. I don't have much coin, but I have valuables to trade, if you have what I need." The shop owner frowned, smacked his lips twice, then waved Master Luong toward the inner room. Once inside, he spoke in a low voice. "How much exactly?" Master Luong reached into his bag. He drew out a small pouch and set it on the table. Inside, gold coins. The shop owner took one, brought it to his teeth, bit down, turned it over and over in his fingers, and finally tucked it into his pocket with a thin smile. "Enough. Enough. Stand here and wait." A few minutes later, he returned carrying a small wooden box. He set it on the table between them. "I don't have the poisonous plants you describe, but I have this. It won't disappoint you. But before I open it, you must swear something to me." "What do you want me to swear?" The shop owner's face grew grave. He swallowed. "Swear that you will not use this to kill anyone." Master Luong stroked his silver beard slowly. Without hesitation, he swore, "If I use what is in this box to kill a person, may I be struck by lightning, destroyed by heaven and earth, die without a whole body and without a grave to rest in." Then he added, "Don't worry, I have important work that requires a powerful poison, but not a single person will be harmed by it. I give you my word." The shop owner stared at him. His hands trembled slightly as he undid the small lock on the outside of the box and lifted the lid. Inside lay a black cloth bundle the size of a fist. He was reaching out to open it when he jerked back. "Wait, I nearly forgot. Don't touch that. Don't touch anything inside. Let me get the gloves first." He came back with 2 pairs of cloth gloves, handed one to Master Luong, and put the other on himself. Then carefully, he unfolded the black cloth. "This is a natural poison for which there is no antidote." Master Luong's eyes widened. He was silent for 3 full seconds. Then he leaned in, lifted the object from the cloth, and held it up to the light. He spoke quietly. This is not